What's up everyone, MRM-BODY here, and today we're diving deep into a topic that's absolutely critical, yet so often overlooked. You're putting in the hours at the gym, you're pushing yourself, maybe you're even dialing in your nutrition, trying to eat clean, hitting those protein goals, but something's off. Your strength numbers have flatlined, you're constantly battling muscle soreness that just won't quit, and you're dragging yourself through the day, feeling perpetually tired. Like your energy reserves are always hovering near empty. That fire you had when you started, that consistent progress, it feels like a distant memory. If this scenario sounds painfully familiar, if you're nodding your head right now thinking, that's me, then listen up, because you're almost certainly making one, if not all, of 3 major recovery mistakes. These aren't minor slip-ups, these are fundamental errors that are actively sabotaging your hard work, creating a bottleneck that prevents you from seeing the results you deserve. They're the silent killers of progress, the invisible walls you keep hitting. But here's the good news. These mistakes are entirely fixable. And once you identify them and implement the strategies we're about to cover, you're going to unlock a new level of performance and physique development. Your gains, the ones you've been grinding for, are going to skyrocket. We're not talking about small incremental changes, we're talking about a significant leap forward. So if you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start making real, tangible progress, let's get straight into it. Alright, let's tackle the first major recovery blunder: sleep. Or more specifically, the quality and depth of your sleep. You might hear get 7 to 9 hours and think, okay, I'm in bed for that long, check. But I'm telling you, sleep isn't just about logging hours, it's about what your body is actually doing during those hours. It's not optional downtime, it's prime muscle building, hormone optimizing, and system repairing time. If your sleep is compromised, your recovery is fundamentally crippled, no matter how perfect everything else is. Think of sleep as the ultimate anabolic state. This is when your body flips the switch from breaking down tissue, which happens during intense training, to building it back up stronger. Key hormones responsible for growth and repair, like growth hormone and testosterone, see their peak release during specific stages of deep sleep. If you're not reaching these deep sleep stages or not staying in them long enough, you're missing out on this crucial hormonal surge. It's like trying to build a house without the construction crew showing up. The materials are there, but nothing gets built. Muscle protein synthesis, the very process by which your muscle fibers repair and grow thicker and stronger after being damaged by your workouts, is significantly elevated during deep sleep. Your body is working overtime to shuttle nutrients, clear out metabolic waste products, and lay down new muscle tissue. If your sleep is shallow, fragmented, or constantly interrupted, this intricate repair process is blunted. You wake up feeling unrefreshed, your muscles are still aching, and you haven't capitalized on the growth stimulus from your training. It's a missed opportunity, night after night. So, that 7 to 9 hour recommendation, it's a solid guideline, absolutely. But it's the uninterrupted, high-quality nature of those hours that truly matters. You could be in bed for 10 hours, but if you're tossing and turning, waking up frequently, or spending most of your time in light sleep stages, you're not getting the restorative benefits your muscles and nervous system desperately need. We need to focus on optimizing sleep architecture, ensuring you cycle effectively through light, deep, and REM sleep, with a significant portion dedicated to that deep, physically restorative phase. Let's talk about the common culprits that are absolutely wrecking your sleep quality, often without you even realizing the extent of the damage. First up is blue light exposure, especially in the hours leading up to bed. The screens from your phone, your tablet, your computer, your TV, they all emit this specific wavelength of light that directly signals to your brain that it's still daytime. This, in turn, suppresses the production of melatonin, the key hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle and tells your body it's time to wind down. When melatonin is suppressed, falling asleep becomes harder, and the quality of the sleep you do get is often compromised. You might find yourself lying in bed, mind racing, unable to switch off. That late night scrolling through social media, answering emails, or watching just one more episode is doing far more harm than you think. It's actively telling your internal clock to stay alert, right when it should be preparing for rest and recovery. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a physiological disruption with significant downstream effects on your gains. Then there's the issue of caffeine intake. Many of us rely on caffeine to power through our days and our workouts, and that's fine, in moderation and timed correctly. However, caffeine has a surprisingly long half-life, meaning it stays in your system for many hours. If you're consuming caffeine too late in the day, say after 2 p.m., a significant amount can still be circulating in your bloodstream when you're trying to go to sleep. This can delay sleep onset, reduce total sleep time, and crucially, decrease the amount of deep sleep you achieve. Even if you think you can drink coffee late and still fall asleep, the architecture of your sleep is likely being negatively affected. You might fall asleep, but you won't reach those critical deep sleep stages as effectively or for as long. This is why a strict caffeine cutoff time is essential. For most people, that 2 p.m. mark is a good rule of thumb. Any later, and you're playing Russian roulette with your recovery. Now let's move on to the second major recovery mistake: training too much, too often, without adequate rest. You might think that hitting the gym 6 or 7 days a week, pushing to failure on every set, and constantly adding volume is the fast track to gains. But I'm here to tell you that more often than not, this approach will lead to burnout, injury, and a frustrating lack of progress. Your muscles don't grow during your workouts, they grow between them, during periods of recovery. When you train, especially with intensity, you're creating microscopic damage to your muscle fibers. This damage is the stimulus for growth. However, for that growth to occur, your body needs time and resources to repair those fibers and build them back stronger and bigger. If you're constantly hammering your muscles day in and day out without sufficient rest, you're not giving them that crucial window for repair and adaptation. Instead, you're just accumulating more damage on top of existing damage. This state of excessive training without adequate recovery is what we call overtraining, or more accurately for most people, non-functional overreaching. Your body shifts into a catabolic state, where muscle breakdown starts to exceed muscle building. Your stress hormone levels, particularly cortisol, remain chronically elevated. Elevated cortisol can interfere with sleep, suppress your immune system, increase fat storage, especially around the midsection, and yes, hinder muscle growth. You're essentially digging yourself into a deeper and deeper recovery hole. The no days off mentality might sound hardcore, but it's often counterproductive for natural lifters seeking optimal muscle hypertrophy and strength gains. Your central nervous system also takes a beating from intense training. The CNS needs time to recover just like your muscles do. If your CNS is fatigued, your ability to recruit muscle fibers, generate force, and maintain intensity in your workouts will plummet, even if your muscles themselves feel somewhat recovered. This leads to subpar workouts and diminished growth stimulus. So, what's the solution? It's about training smarter, not just harder. This means strategically incorporating rest and recovery into your training plan. At a minimum, you should be taking at least one full rest day per week. And I mean a full rest day, no active recovery that's really just another light workout. Let your body completely rest and recuperate. For many people, especially those training with high intensity or volume, 2 or even 3 rest days per week might be more optimal. Listen to your body. Persistent fatigue, a drop in motivation, nagging aches and pains that don't go away, a decline in performance, trouble sleeping, these are all telltale signs that you might be overdoing it and need more recovery. Don't just push through these signals. They are your body's way of telling you to back off and allow for adaptation to occur. Ignoring them is a recipe for stagnation or worse, injury. Beyond weekly rest days, you should also consider incorporating deload weeks into your training cycle. A deload week is a planned period of reduced training intensity, volume, or both, typically scheduled every 6 to 8 weeks, though this can vary based on your training experience, intensity, and recovery capacity. During a deload week, you might reduce your weights by 40 to 50%, cut your sets in half, or focus more on technique and mobility work rather than pushing for new personal records. The third critical recovery mistake is simply not eating enough. You can have the perfect training program and get 8 hours of quality sleep, but if you're not providing your body with sufficient raw materials, the calories and macronutrients it needs, then repair, recovery, and growth will be severely compromised. Undereating is like asking a construction crew to build a skyscraper with only half the necessary bricks and steel. It just won't happen. Many people, and I see this all the time, drastically underestimate their true caloric needs, particularly when they're engaged in consistent intense resistance training. You might think you're eating a lot or eating enough, but the reality is often quite different. Building and repairing muscle tissue is an energetically expensive process. Your body requires a caloric surplus, or at the very least caloric maintenance with sufficient protein, to effectively synthesize new muscle protein and recover from the demands of your workouts. If you're in a significant or chronic caloric deficit, your body will prioritize essential life functions over building new muscle tissue. In fact, in a severe deficit, it might even start breaking down existing muscle tissue for energy, which is the exact opposite of what you're trying to achieve. This is why those who are constantly trying to shred, while also making significant strength and size gains, often find themselves frustrated and stuck. The two goals, when pursued aggressively at the same time, can be physiologically at odds if not managed with extreme precision. So, how do you know if you're eating enough? The most straightforward way to get an objective measure is to track your calorie and macronutrient intake for a few days. I recommend using a reputable calorie tracking app for at least 3 to 5 days, meticulously logging everything you eat and drink. Be honest and accurate. You might be very surprised by the numbers. Many people who believe they're eating 2,500 calories a day are actually closer to 1,800, or those aiming for high protein are falling short. Once you have a baseline of your current intake, you can compare it to your estimated daily energy expenditure, which includes your basal metabolic rate, BMR, the thermic effect of food, TEF, and your activity levels, both exercise and non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. There are many online calculators that can give you a rough estimate, but tracking your body weight and performance over time while monitoring your intake is the most accurate way to dial things in. If your weight is stagnant or dropping and your strength isn't progressing, insufficient calories are a likely culprit. Now let's talk specifically about macronutrients, because it's not just about total calories. The composition of those calories matters immensely for recovery. Protein is of course paramount. It provides the amino acids, the building blocks for muscle repair and growth. Aiming for around 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram, is a good target for most individuals looking to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Distribute this intake relatively evenly throughout the day. However, one macronutrient that often gets unfairly demonized, especially in fat loss circles, but is absolutely crucial for recovery and performance, is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your body's primary and preferred source of fuel for high-intensity exercise. They are stored in your muscles and liver as glycogen. Intense workouts deplete these glycogen stores. If you're not adequately replenishing them, your performance in subsequent workouts will suffer, you'll feel fatigued, and your recovery will be impaired. Carbohydrates also play a role in stimulating insulin, an anabolic hormone that helps shuttle nutrients, including amino acids from protein, into your muscle cells, further aiding the recovery and growth process. Consuming carbohydrates, particularly around your workout window, before, during, or after, can significantly enhance glycogen resynthesis, reduce muscle protein breakdown, and create a more favorable hormonal environment for recovery. Don't fear carbs, strategically use them to fuel your efforts and accelerate your recovery. So, there you have it. 3 of the most common yet most damaging recovery mistakes that could be holding you back from the strength, muscle, and performance you're truly capable of. We've talked about the critical importance of deep restorative sleep, the dangers of training too much without adequate rest, and the absolute necessity of fueling your body with enough of the right nutrients. Recovery isn't just some passive waiting period, it's an active, essential process. It's not always the sexy part of training, it doesn't get the same glory as a new PR lift, but I guarantee you, it's where the real, sustainable gains actually happen. Think of your training as planting a seed. The workout itself is just the initial act, but that seed needs the right conditions to sprout and grow: strong, fertile soil, nutrition, adequate water, hydration and rest, and sunshine, sleep. Without these elements, the seed, no matter how good it was, will wither. Your muscles are no different. You put in the hard work to stimulate them, but it's consistent, intelligent recovery that allows them to adapt, rebuild, and come back bigger and stronger than before. Sleep well, rest smart, and fuel your body with intention. If you found these tips helpful and you're ready to stop leaving gains on the table, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We're constantly putting out content designed to help you train smarter, recover better, and build the physique and performance you want, all based on science and real-world application. Don't just work hard, work smart, and let's level up your training together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.